This is going to be an extremely busy month. I have to watch 104 soccer games, follow the pregame, the postgame, yell useless opinions at the TV. It's a lot. So I knew that when it comes to screening for colon cancer, the choice was clear. The Cologuard Plus test. It can be used at home and can only take 15 minutes, so I can do it during halftime and not miss any action. If you are 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about screening for colon cancer with the Cologuard test. You can also request a prescription at Cologuard.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Well, Sunday morning. Next week is 4th of July. Oh, my God, the time is flying. With us today is Roger Zakheim, and he is director of the Reagan Institute in D.C. And, well, how often do you travel back and forth with D.C. and California?
Well, John, great to be back on the show. And the Reagan Institute in D.C., we lead the think tank and public policy arm of the Reagan Foundation, which is is based in California. I go back there a bunch. We do our big convenings out there. We had one recently. We couldn't get you there, but we hope to in the future, the Reagan National Economic Forum. And there we had the Secretary of Treasury and leading CEOs, entrepreneurs to talk about American free enterprise and the dignity of work and how do we make America prosper for all Americans.
And lately, it seems like America is under attack in so many ways, in so many directions. Politically, I mean, in New York, I live in New York, and New York has suffered a socialistic takeover just about, and it looks like it might happen in a state besides just the city. President Trump is doing as much as he can with the fighting the drug situation. What are you looking as the biggest dangers that President Reagan would have looked at?
Well, he faced these challenges when he was in office. Actually, prior to coming into office as president, he served as governor during the 60s, where he faced a spate of young people who were anti-war and were promoting this socialist outlook, some of which we're seeing play out again. In this respect, history is rhyming a little bit. Of course, we've seen this convergence in New York City with socialism, Marxism, and Islamism, and that's unique and different than what we've seen in this country before. I do think Reagan always had a dose of optimism, even when we were facing these challenges to our democratic republic, and I think it's important, John, we keep that in mind as we are on the cusp of celebrating our 250th birthday, and that is pride in the wisdom of the American people, that America is built on this foundation of human dignity, individual liberty. That is what the Declaration of Independence said is a God-given right to every individual, and it's why Marxism will not succeed in this country, despite what's happened in some of these primaries in New York City. And I think it took too long for the Democratic Party to wake up to this. In my view, this is now a feature, that Democratic Socialists are a feature of the Democratic Party. It's not a bug, and it needs to be combated. And your mayor is leading the way, Mayor Mamdani, but it is fundamentally, in my view, un-American. Reagan said all the time, government is not the solution. Government is the problem. And we created this republic to take care of core needs. But generally, the purpose of it is the general welfare is because let people live freely.
Agreed. But we're challenged. And do you see the American people nationally? Because you're dealing on a national basis. That they're realizing what is happening?
So we do a lot of polling, as you know, and the American people overall stand for the values of our Declaration of Independence. They want that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that's promised, and they want to build a more perfect union. We see that in the polling. They know who our friends are. They know who our adversaries are. There is a clear-eyed view, for example, that China and Iran and Russia are our enemies. They understand that to the tune of 80%. We see this time and time again. I'm referencing numbers for a survey we did recently ahead of our Reagan National Economic Forum in late May. So just, fresh numbers, no more than a month ago. There are pockets in this country that get outsized attention, although worthy of concern, where the DSA is exploiting. And we have a generation of young people that went to elite institutions where they were taught that our democratic republic is built on corruption, is built on exploitation, is built by people who oppress. And all of a sudden, we're shocked right now that those people who went to institutions that were taught that are now going to be taking elected office after they were rallying in favor of Hamas on October 8th. Now they'll be rallying in the U.S. House of Representatives. So, it's pockets of the country. I think the country making up to it. But, John, I have full confidence that overall in our country, this point of view is marginal and it's going to be rejected.
Well, I pray for it because, President Trump is trying to make the free world free, and I don't want to lose our own country.
Well, neither do I. And it needs to be combated. And the first step is for the Democratic Party to recognize that this is something that is structural, that it can't be wished away or swept under the rug. You have a Democrat like Senator Fetterman from Pennsylvania, who seems to me quite clear-eyed about it. But this is a point of view that is seeking to give government and the state all the means of production, and we know what that is. This Marxist outlook just leads to servitude, the serfdom of the state. This is what Hayek spoke about. This is what Reagan internalized. We need to be on the side of freedom. Freedom, economic freedom, political freedom, religious freedom. And unfortunately, the forces that are operating in these corridors in New York City want to tell young people that they should trade their freedom for government services and benefits that somehow will make their life better. And we know what happens in this situation. What it does, it just makes people slaves to the state and actually is a corruptive force in people's lives.
Well, Roger Zakheim, thank you so much for everything you do and get the truth out and maintain the Reagan legacy. And we'll catch up with you again real soon.
Great to be with you.